All right, so we're going to get into the scheduling information for this week. And again, this is just information for this week, not for, overall. So sometimes there's some notes in here that only apply to this week. And some are carried over from, it seems like, from week to week. But there we go. All right, first, let's talk about our terminologies here. We got to make sure we do that first. So that right there. There we go. All right. So to start off with, so the order bank, what we're talking about is scheduling here for your orders. Those orders are placed in the order bank. That is where the dealers are placing their stock in the retail orders. Those orders can be either a retail order, a stock. I didn't put in here fleet, but technically fleet orders are put into WebDo's system as well. Customers orders are retail orders, and then stock orders are for dealer or stock inventory. All right, and then priority code, those are priorities given to those orders. They can the dealer can give them anywhere from, the default is a 19 on those retail orders, but they can change it to a 03 through a 19 to kind of stack or tier up their orders. And stock are anywhere from 20 to 80. So when Ford pumps those stock orders in, they always put them as 80. As dealers, if you're smart, you'll move those to 20 so you can see which ones are your orders versus their orders. The lower the better. So, like for us, if we put in our own stock orders, then they're going to be looked at before Ford's, unless it's a configuration that Ford needs, and that's why they put it in there. But that's how that'll work. So that's why retails are always looked at first. Now, scheduling, that is when Ford schedules an order for production dates in future months. So a lot of the ones we're talking about here is they're going to get scheduled now for dates in November for a lot of these. And then production dates, they can be scheduled to the week first, and then as they get closer to the schedule, to the day. Allocations. Now, Ford gives dealers allocations to schedule their orders, and those allocations are given based on their sales volume, or their sales velocity is what they like to call it. That is how many they sell versus how many is still in stock. So a lot of times they'll look and say, okay, because they sell this many, or this is how many we want to give them, but they're overstocked right now and they have a bunch coming in. So because of that, they're not going to get as many allocations as they might normally get. But whereas if they're the other way around, where they sell a bunch and we sold down of our inventory and don't have as many, then we'll get maybe a larger number than usual. All right. And then an order cannot be scheduled without an allocation, though, just so you know that. Even if a dealer has, like for us, we have over 30 Maverick retail orders. We have 23 allocations. That doesn't cover all of our orders. That can happen. And so it doesn't matter how many orders you have. Your allocations are based on your sales production and how many you sell. Constraints, those are options that may be in short supply or it'll take longer to build. The capacity, that kind of runs into there, and it shows you, what are the capacity of scheduling and such. A lot of times those upper trim levels, they don't make as many than some of the lower trim levels. And so you have to think about that when placing orders. And then job 1 and 2, Ford will split that into 2 different job runs. If they want to introduce something new in job 2, then they'll allow that for job 2. We're seeing that on Bronco Sport and Maverick right now, where like Lobo and some other features on the Maverick aren't going to be available till job 2. Bronco Sport, that's those Sasquatch packages are going to be a job 2 production. And then balance out, that's the end of production or the balance out a particular model option, something like that. And especially when we get to the end of like 24 model year, we'll get into talking about some of that stuff there. So, all right, so let's start off by talking about the 25 model year Mustang. So 24 model year is over. It's balanced out. So using that terminology there we just learned. Retail, the order banks are open up for the 25 model year. And in fact, they started scheduling last week. I know they said, I made note that they told us in WebDo that they were not going to schedule Mustang, but they did. So again, things change between Tuesday and Thursday. So this week they are planning to schedule for build dates in November, week of November 4th through the 25th. And here it looks like the first day to build job 1 is on the 4th. So that's when they're going to start 25 model year production. A note in here, the Dark Horse handling package won't be available until August of 25. So if you're wanting a Dark Horse with a handling package, it's not happening for a long time. Mustang Night Pony package with the black painted roof is only available for retail scheduling. That means a dealer can't order one for stock. And then exhaust availability for the 5.0 liter engine that's in the Dark Horse, as well as the Sinister Bronze painted wheel, the 19 by 9 and 19 by 9.5. That's your GT Performance wheel. If you get that, if they get the GT Performance package with the bronze appearance package, that's the one that's limited. It's that wheel. And then the 19 by 8.5 ebony black painted aluminum wheel is exhaust available. I think that's the standard wheel on the Mustang, if I remember right. So otherwise, nothing else on Mustang. All right. And then next is a 25 model year Escape. The order banks are open up for the Escape for stock and retail. They've already started scheduling on the Escape. I think production actually started this last week. So they are producing the 25 now and moving on to that. They are not scheduling this week, though. They did do a bunch of scheduling last week. We had, I think, all of our allocations were scheduled last week that we had for the Escape. So, and I'm sure they probably scheduled a bunch. So no scheduling this week for the Escape. So because of that, we don't have any notes or any constraints there because they're not scheduling. Next up is the 25 model year Bronco Sport. The order banks are open up for the 25 model year. They are done scheduling for the 24 model year. This is the first week for scheduling for the 25 model year Bronco Sport. They are scheduling for build weeks, the weeks of November 11th through the week of November 25th. So it's a 3-week scheduling there. 11th is the first day they're going to build a 25 model year Bronco Sport. The Sasquatch Outer Banks package will be available Q1, so that's a job 2. Also, the one that's in the Badlands package, the Sasquatch Badlands package, also is a Q1 build. And then it says we will be taking retail orders for Sasquatch package, but they will not schedule until job 2. And it does say in here in this note, it says February of 2025. So go back 2 months prior to that. So they're going to start scheduling those in December. So you have until December to get those orders in there like that. Limited availability for the 1.5 liter EcoBoost engine, which is kind of strange because that's what's standard on everything except for Badlands. Also, limited availability for the Big Ben and the Badlands. So I don't know. Don't know what they're doing. Exhaust availability for the Outer Banks as well as the Outer Banks Tech package and the all-season tire, the 225/65 R17. That's tire option T7Q. And again, exhausted, limited. So, exhaust availability again is it's harder to get that scheduled than a limited availability. But just because it says limited doesn't mean it's not going to happen. They will schedule some 1.5 liter EcoBoost engines. So just take that for what it's worth there. But yeah. But it sounds like to me, since the 2.0 isn't in there, you're more likely to see a Badlands get scheduled probably than some of the other trim levels. But there you go. And then, yeah, that's going on there. 24 model year Bronco. Order banks are open up. Are they open or they close? Hold on a second. Bronco. No, they haven't closed yet. So they're still open for another month yet. So order banks are open up for the 24 model year, with the exception, of course, Everglades is done. Production of Everglades is done. The Heritage Limited Edition you can't order, of course. Heritage Edition 4-door you can't order, but you can order Heritage 2-door, and then all the other trims you can schedule or you can order as well, including Raptor. This is cleanup scheduling. It says they're going to schedule for the weeks of November 4th to the week of November 25th. It does say in here required orders. Oh, well. Looks like to me what they're needing dealers to put in. So this is when they say required orders, it means for dealers. So dealers that don't have retail orders, but they have allocations for stock, they need them to put in some orders. And here are some of the things that they're really needing scheduled because of their, remember earlier I mentioned their capacity. They have a certain capacity that they build, like the Wild Track, the Big Ben, the Heritage Edition and such. And that's a certain capacity. To be at their full capacity, they're telling dealers we need some orders to help us keep at that capacity. And here are the 4 ones that they kind of need: a 4-door Wild Track, a 4-door Badlands, 2-door Heritage, and a 2-door Big Ben. So those are some of the ones that they're needing there for you. So they always say required orders. I also mentioned Raptor in here, believe it or not. So there are dealers that need to put their orders in for that. So, and it does say for dealers with open allocation, of course. And then exhaust availability for the hardtop, and that is the carbonized gray molded in hardtop. So that's exhausted. So put in your painted hardtop, black painted hardtop. We've been ordering those. you can do those as well right there. So, all right. And for the Bronco, as I mentioned, order banks close at the end of October unless something changes. It could change. It could close earlier than that. The last day they're going to build a 24 is December 22nd ish, somewhere around there, unless that changes. Looks like the order banks should open up the middle of October. Again, they're giving us a date of October 15th, but that could change. That's still a little ways away. So that's about when that's going to be, with job one being in January 2nd. So anyway, and yeah, we're going to talk more about Bronco in our live stream in just a little bit for 25 model year. Next up is the 24 model year Mustang Mach-E. The order banks are open up for the Mustang Mach-E for the 24 model year. Looks like they're going to stay open for a few more weeks yet into October. And this week they're not going to be scheduling, though. No scheduling for the Mach-E. So there's that. For the 25 model year, looks like order banks should open up around the 15th of October, and with production starting in January 6th. Next up, 25 model year Explorer. Order banks are open up for the 25 model year Explorer. They've been building these, delivering these. We've got a bunch on our lot. And so those are open. No scheduling this week, though. So they will not be scheduling the Ford Explorer at the plant this week. That's all I have for that. Next up, 24 model year Expedition. Order banks are closed for the 24 model year. 25 model year will open up mid-October. Let me find a date. Ooh, they changed the date. October 24th is, looks like, when the order bank should open up for that. They have balanced out 24 model year. So no scheduling this week for 24 model year. In fact, there won't be any more scheduling for the 24 model year. They said it has balanced out. We had a bunch of expeditions scheduled last week. And so, yep, 24 is done. Moving on to 25, which is a redesign year. It is the 5th generation Expedition. And yeah, so we'll see more information on that in October. All right, next up, 25 model year Maverick. The order banks are open up for the Maverick, of course, for the 25 model year. They are done with the 24 model year. And of course, production starts November 11th for the Maverick. This is the first week for scheduling for the Maverick coming up. It'll be for the scheduling for the weeks of November 11th through the weeks of November 25th. Don't forget, Lobo version isn't available until Q1. It'll be a job 2. And I've been told those will schedule in November, but they work in line with Bronco Sport, so maybe late November, December. Limited availability for the hybrid motor. Also, it says in here, which is funny because they haven't even scheduled anything yet. So, whatever. Exhaust availability for the XL, and also exhaust availability for the Tremor, believe it or not. And then the 4-wheel drive, the all-wheel drive, as well as advanced all-wheel drive, is also exhaust availability. They're all-season tire. That's the tire that's actually been an issue with the XL and XLT getting scheduled. That's still a concern going into 25 model year. Also, the exhaust availability for the wheel, the 19 by 7.5 alloy, that's the 64R, as well as the 642 19-inch black painted aluminum wheel. So I think that's the one on the Lariat trim. So looks like 2-wheel drive is your option there, folks. XLT, Lariat, 2-wheel drive, or, well, not even Lariat. Your XLT, front-wheel drives. No, exhaust availability. There will be some that will schedule, but it will be mostly, it looks like they're looking for EcoBoost for the most part there. So anyway, but again, they have some availability because they have a certain production to keep up. So orders will schedule. So even if I know a lot of our orders that are previewing, we have hybrids and EcoBoost. We have all different trim levels that are previewing. We don't see any kind of trend of anything that's looking here. Just you should be okay. Don't think because some of these are exhausted that you won't get scheduled right away. It still can happen. Again, biggest thing is depending on your dealer's allocations versus their orders. Next up, 24 model year Ranger. Order banks are closed for the 24 model year Ranger. Stock is still open in case dealership has any allocations. They are scheduled this week. Cleanup scheduling, it says. So any allocations that need to be scheduled for the dealer for production week of November 25th. And then 25 model year Ranger. Looks like order banks are going to open up like with the Bronco in the middle of October, so October 15th, with production also starting in January. So Ranger and Bronco kind of go hand in hand there. So, all right, next up, 24 model year Super Duty. The order banks are closed for 24 model year. Actually, no, they're not. Sorry. 24 model year order banks for the Super Duty is still open. They are going to be open until it looks like October 9th is when they're scheduling to close it. Of course, that could change. Just depends. But the order banks are still open up. So you could place, if you're looking at some 25 model year and go, I don't like some of those options, put in an order for 24 and see if you get scheduled. A lot of it has to do with dealer allocations, of course, but it still could happen. They're going to produce the 24 model years at Kentucky until December 1st, and Ohio will build until January 17th. And then order banks opened up today for the 25 model year Super Duty. So this week they are scheduling for the weeks of October 14th through the week of November 11th for Kentucky, and for Ohio, the weeks of November 4th and the week of November 11th. And then, let's see, I'm not going to go over the required orders for dealers because dealers should know that. Limit availability for the Lariat trim. Also, the 648 wheel, 648, that's the 18-inch sparkle silver paint aluminum wheel. That's standard on XLT, F250, and 350 single rear wheels. Also, wheel option 64A. That's a 17-inch argent painted steel wheel that's standard on the XL. And then also the lug nut cap, OBKLD and OBKWD. Those are the wheel caps that go on those 10.5-inch axle size single rear wheels on the F250s. So for the F250s on both of those. So also the Sterling 10.5 axle. That's available on the 6.8 liter F250 and 350s or the 7.3 F250 single rear wheel pickup. It's that axle. And then the 360-degree camera package that's standard on Lariat, King Ranch Platinum, and Limited. Optional on XL and XLT is also limited availability. And then the fifth wheel gooseneck hitch prep package with the bed liner. Oh, wait, no, sorry. I'm saying it's not available with the bed liner and the bed mat. That's standard on Limited and the F450. That's that prep package is a limited availability. So I try to keep it off your order unless you just have to have it, right? So, all right. Next up, 24 model year F-150. This says 24. Should say 25, right? Are we on to 25? Hold on. Order banks are closed for the 24 model year, and they're open for the 25 model year. And it looks like they don't start scheduling 25 yet. So this would be for the 24 model year, for probably that balance out. Yep. For production weeks 9/30 through 10/2. So this is for 24 model year. Cleanup scheduling. Heads up display is restricted. And that is standard on that, the 402A, 502A, and 702A. So they're asking people to decide not to get that other package, which I think they need to do is have a heads-up display delete option so they can still get the other features if they want. But hey, what do I know? And then limit availability for the four-wheel drive. That's the only issue there. Otherwise, they're open. So, all right. Next up is a 24 model year Transit. The order banks are open up for the 24 model year. Looks like they're going to be closing not for a while, end of October. So they'll keep that open for a while. We don't have any information on 25 model year Transit yet. They are scheduled this week for the production week of 11/18. And it does say Transit trails will not be selected for scheduling. And also Transit order with a chrome HID headlight 91A or the black HID headlight 91C will not be selected for scheduling. And then also limited availability for the high roof extended van, as well as limited availability for Sync 4 with the AM/FM stereo and 12-inch display. That's option 58B, as well as the all-wheel drive version of the Transit. So there you go. That's all that information. So if you, of course, are watching the recorded portion of this video on Wednesday night, drop those comments down below. Try to answer those as quick as I can. For those that are watching us live, let's take your questions right now.